Who is in favor of repealing Obamacare? Your answers don't count. All right.
They can't see their hands.
Okay. Next, who favors a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution? All right. Who favors substantial overhaul of our federal tax code? All of them. Who is in favor of what is called the fair tax? 3.5. John, you're thinking about it.
Well, I'll have an opportunity to elaborate on that.
All right, we'll give you a chance to do that. All right, good. Who is in favor of vigorously enforcing the immigration laws such as the measures passed in Arizona? 3.5. No. Okay, 3.5. Who is in favor of substantially smaller scope of the federal government? 4 strong answers. Who is in favor of substantial expansion of oil and gas exploration, including drilling offshore of Florida waters? 4. Think about this one. Who is in favor of disallowing illegal immigrants from receiving federal and state benefits? 3.5. We'll give you a chance to elaborate that on that a little bit. All right. So those are this is kind of general questions. I expected most, if not all of you, to agree with those, so we don't have to worry about those anymore. However, I'm going to be coming back to those issues in a second in some detail. All right. So first, let us start with Obamacare. I asked you about that earlier. Regarding that Health Care Reform Act, which was substantially upheld by the Supreme Court recently, which aspects of that bill do you support, and which aspects do you oppose, and why? Let's start with Julius this time.
To answer your question directly, if there's going to be a component of the health care bill that I would support, that is the pooling of different people into one insurance program. Because unfortunately, if you're a small business, such as Ruth Coverlee's, they may only have 10 or 12 employees, and those 12 or 12 employees cannot efficiently get together enough people in the pool, so to speak, to lower the cost of health care. So that's the only thing I agree with, because I never quite understood is why different companies can't work together, especially if they're small businesses, and small businesses of a similar type of industry, that they can get together and go to an insurance company and be able to buy that at a cheaper price. But that is not Obamacare. That is just one specific provision within it. The rest of it, I completely repeal. It is not the job of the federal government to be taking care of every single person and telling them how they're going to get it. I'm a veteran. When I had to go to the VA hospital, I had to literally get a computer printout, wait like 6 months to be able to get some basic care. And that is something that I don't think everyone's going to want to appreciate, but the federal government telling you exactly how to do your health care. It basically transferred the decisions of what patients receive from an HMO that a lot of people don't like to the federal government, and only having the federal government having the sole ability to tell you how to do it. The other issue too is it does nothing to address healthcare costs. If you want to keep the premiums even, right, you don't want people to pay money into the insurance, but if the healthcare costs keep rising, all you did was shift the problem over to the right. What happens when healthcare costs equal the amount of money that's going into it? Either everybody's taxes are going to have to get increased, the premiums are going to have to get increased, or that federal government committee is going to have to sit there and say what costs have to be diminished or what services don't have to be provided in order for it to be balanced.
Thank you. Yes, Mark, please. Okay, Mark, 90 seconds.
Okay. I would repeal all of Obamacare. There's nothing on Obamacare to keep. Since I've been working for the past 30 years, we haven't had free market healthcare in the United States. We've had socialized medicine long before Obama came. Obama just came and said, we're going to move the socialized medicine out of the control of the insurance companies to the control of the government. And the insurance companies have the politicians in their back pocket through the lobbyists that can control how healthcare has been brought about. So we need to not only repeal Obamacare, we need to end the socialism of healthcare in this country. And one of the things we need to do, we need to remove the factors that have caused the insurance companies to have the control of the healthcare system that they've had. We need to have tort reform to get rid of the lawsuits that bring up our healthcare costs. We need to have cross-state competition. We need to do things, not just repeal Obamacare, we need to go to a free market healthcare system. And when we go to a free market healthcare system, that will not only make things cheaper for everyone. Our biggest problem right now is Medicare. And Medicare is struggling and is going to destroy this country because healthcare costs are too high. And if we don't put free market solutions into our healthcare system, Medicare is going to fall, the United States is going to fall because we're not going to be able to pay our debts. And the biggest problem we have on that is socialized healthcare.
I certainly would repeal and work towards the repeal of the entire Obamacare. It is not market-based, and it's trillions of dollars of taxes that are imposed on the citizens of this state, this state and the nation. And so I would work towards the repeal of Obamacare. You know, market-based is what we need to look and solutions. We need to also take the restrictions of Medicaid, allow the states to manage the Medicaid budget, as opposed to having more restrictions placed by the federal government. That's up to the states, and the states are the ones that should be doing that. You know, when we're in the legislature, we offer tax incentive for people that would purchase health insurance, health flex, and those are certainly incentives. We need to go back to the drawing board. Obamacare was passed trillions of dollars without transparency, without being properly reviewed, so we have to start from scratch. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd absolutely repeal it. I mean, we will not survive any aspect of Obamacare. Initially, if you recall, President Obama said it would cost us $900 billion over the next decade. We're already up to $2.5 trillion, and it's growing every day. And I'll say this, that, you know, the argument in Washington, D.C. is always, well, what sort of big government programs should we have? What one-size-fits-all programs should we have? If you believe what Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Ronald Reagan, what Todd Long believed, you believe the federal government does this, gives you the greatest military in the world, takes great care of your veterans, secures your borders, and gives you a national energy policy, maybe about 3 or 4 things that individuals and states can't do for themselves. And you let states educate their kids, provide their health care. You believe in families, personal responsibility, freedom. The notion that we have Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Harry Reid making any decisions for us, the worst money managers in human history, the same people have taken the national debt from about $5 trillion to about $16 trillion and growing, trying to put together some health care program is unbelievable. We've already got 60, 70, 80, $90 billion of Medicare fraud in the system. And the Republicans are now talking about, well, this is what the national program should be, and this is what the national this should be. Well, the Republicans were in Congress from 2001 to 2006, as I recall, and didn't solve anything with health care solutions. And all the things they're talking about now, they had power back then and didn't do anything. And that's why I'm the only one of this greats that got up and fought against the Republican establishment, offered specific solutions on how to do these things. And the last thing I'll say about this, if you want lower health care costs, don't produce a nation of 40% kids come out of high school with diabetes and chronic diseases. That's going to kill you, and you're not going to have any private system that works. And the last thing I'll say, look at the elective, where capitalism works. In the elective procedure, cosmetic procedures, we have no inflation, and we're doing quite well. Better products every year, low cost every year. Because capitalism works every time. That's what I'll support.
Thank you, gentlemen. The next issue involves the national debt. At our last club meeting last month, we talked a little bit about the national debt. It stands now at about $15.7 trillion. and has grown exponentially in the last few years. So the question for this group, starting with Mark, is what would you do, how would you propose to reduce and deal with the national debt?
The national debt has nothing to do, we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. You know, we raise our taxes to do this. Only thing that Congress would do is find a way to spend that money. So the only thing that we can do is reduce spending. And our Congress has been impotent in handling this. Not only they can't reduce spending, they can't even freeze spending where it's at right now. What we need to do, we need to have somebody that can go in there with solutions. And we can attack the simple solutions. We won't even attack the simple solutions. We can get rid of the Department of Education, the Department of Energy, the Department of Commerce. We can defund the EPA. Those are the easy things that we can do that this Congress, Republicans when they were in Congress and Democrats in Congress, refused to do. Then we have to hit the hard solutions. One of the biggest things is Medicare. And Medicare is breaking this country. It's the biggest entitlement. And the way we need to take care of Medicare is what we talked about earlier, is we need to put free market solutions in the healthcare system. We put in free markets into the healthcare system, the Medicare cost will go down. When my mother was in the hospital last year, it was $10 for one Tylenol pill. That's criminal. You know, I would go out, you know, I said, I'll go buy the Tylenol pill, I get a whole bottle for $10. But that's our biggest problem is Medicare, reducing the healthcare costs, and that will save our nation's debt.
I agree with what's been said. I will tell you that obviously we discussed Obamacare, and that's trillions of dollars in taxes. That certainly will help. Having market-based solutions, having I don't want the federal government to be educating my children, and we're repeating and doubling services. The state and the local level, the school boards, the parents, they're the ones that need to have that choice. So we have duplicity in red tape, and we have duplicity in bureaucracy. And it's not only the Department of Energy, Department of Education, there's other departments, and so we need to go one by one. And by way of example, we've done that here in Osceola County. In the last 4 years, as I said in the opening statement, we reduced our government almost by 20%. We eliminated approximately 400 positions that were, quite frankly, a lot of it was duplicity. We tried to streamline the government and create efficiencies, and we need to do the same at the federal level. Thank you.
In 2001 to 2006, the Republican Congress took your national debt from $5 to $9 trillion. New entitlements, earmarks went crazy. Instead of securing the borders, balancing budgets, and national energy policy, things they were supposed to be doing. And that's why I got involved. You recall I ran against Rick Keller. I'm the only one here that took on the Republican establishment and came up with solutions. I wrote a book, you've got a copy of it, The Conservative Comeback, which offers many specific solutions on how to cut the debt. But obviously, we just put the Republicans back in charge of the House, and they had a chance to stop the spending and shut down the government. Instead, they give Obama another $2 trillion to keep spending and spending, growing the Department of Education. I believe, as you know, most of these departments should be gone. The federal government does 2 or 3 things, and that's it. I've already told you what they are. If you believe in states' rights, you believe in the Constitution, that's what you believe in, and that's what I believe in. But obviously, a lot of these departments of education got to go. Departments, you talk about the funding of the UN. Let's cut the head of the snake off. The funding of the UN is doing us any good in this country? That's outrageous. So, you can go line by line, but I would, coming back to the plan about reducing by 1 penny every department, that would work. Our cut, cap, and balancing, which they should have held tough on, but at least got us in the right direction. We can't spend any more money on Medicare than we're already spending. That's outrageous. The federal government, instead of protecting us, is becoming one big bad national health insurance policy. The specific solutions in the book, and also, you want to grow the economy. You cut taxes, you go to the fair tax, you grow the economy, and you raise revenues. And that's another way to help balance the budget and not inflict so much pain on our people.
Chancellor Merkel from Germany said best, we simply cannot spend more money than we bring in. Yet you at home, when you're maxed out on your credit card, you can't call up your bank and be like, hey, let me increase my credit limit, even though you had done nothing to change your lifestyle. But yet in the federal government, we can continually print money out and keep adding to the debt over